Attempt 152, by now I'm so doubtful that any of these messages are even reaching the world outside that these messages have become more like diary entries for me. I'm sorry if anyone actually does find this somehow and has to deal with me ranting about mundane things about my personal life. But, you know, it helps keep me awake and alive. There's really nothing else to do here but write these SOS attempts. I'm just so tired. So tired of looking at those damn screens. It's a fair game, I'll give line that, but has it ever been fun? No. Anyway, I guess I should copy-paste the description I wrote here again, just in case. Not that it'll ever be read. I was so proud of it when I first wrote it. SOS attempt 1. I don't even know if I'm still in the backrooms anymore. I'm sending this email in hopes that maybe the MEG or really anyone who receives this can send help as soon as possible. I've lived in level 11 for as long as I can remember. It must have been years, but in all my years of living there, I had never seen these posters before today. They just started appearing all over the buildings, and some were even plastered multiple stories high where no human would ever put a poster. Life in level 11 can get boring sometimes, so of course I grabbed one. Believe it or not, it was an invitation to some sort of event. At first, I didn't think anything of it. It seemed rather childish, but I always loved escape rooms as a kid, and it looked like an advertisement for that sort of thing. I thought that maybe some of the other wanderers in level 11 thought of this little event for fun, maybe to break the monotony that all of us feel in some way or another. It's long gone now, but I remember the poster saying something about finding talented players to compete with a most esteemed guest or something like that. I thought it was just role play or something. After all, there's no esteemed guests in level 11. At the very bottom, there was this weird array of symbols. Here's a recreation I did based on memory, but it might be a little bit inaccurate. It told me to meet the other players in this one really odd building that was shaped like a star. When I got there, there was a crowd of at least 50 people. I was excited at first, because life in level 11 had just been so boring until now, but this is not the kind of event I was expecting. This weird person got up in front of us. Well, I'm not entirely sure if they even were a person, because they wore this strange mask. It was rectangular, and there was a thin light blue strip down the middle that emitted this ghostly, eerie light. They wore a black suit, but all of their skin was covered, so I couldn't actually tell if they were a real person or an entity. Either way, they beckoned us forwards and introduced themselves as Line. Then, we were transported to this hellish location. I'm not sure if this is a different level, or a place outside of the backrooms entirely. It doesn't really matter at this point. I just want out. It's extremely cold. In fact, I'm typing as much as I possibly can and bloating this description out just to keep my fingers from freezing. The temperatures. Here are temperatures no human being could withstand for long. It's also so dark. It's almost pitch black here, and it's dusty and claustrophobic as hell. This place is a bunch of tight, narrow alleyways, and the walls are impossibly tall. The sky, where this depressing blue light shines through, looks like a crack in the endless black that surrounds it. Just looking up drains you of any hope you may have, it's so desolate. I'm terrified by the claustrophobic, never-ending piles of junk that fill up the alleyways. You have to climb over piles and piles of trash in order to get anywhere. In fact, I have been sitting in the same heap for who knows how long. It's just too much energy to even go anywhere. There's nothing here to do but sit and stare at the screens. Almost all of the junk you find here are actually old discarded computers and electronic devices. Some of them are barely functional, but all they can do is display footage. They display footage at random, but the one constant thing about them is that the footage is of other levels in the backrooms. If you've seen surveillance footage, it's like that. It's like there are cameras set up in hundreds of levels in the backrooms, and all of them are connected to this trash heap. The most mind-breaking thing about this is that this entire thing is supposed to be a game. The other 50 players that were with me were also transported here, where Line met us. Line told us that we would be let free and given a chance to go back home to our normal lives in level 11 if we could win the game. What is the goal of the game? To spot another human being on the surveillance cams. If we find one, then we just have to call out Line's name and we will suddenly be free. Line forced us all to split up, and gave us each a section of the level so that we could watch our screens all by ourselves. It would have been nice to have some company, but it's so damn cold that I don't think I'd be able to make it all the way to another person's station. I haven't seen any of the other players since I came here. Maybe they all died of the cold. If they did, I would never know. For all I know, I could be the last one here. I lost track of how long I've spent here. There's no clocks or anything. I have no perception of time. There are 4 functioning computers displaying the footage where I'm at, but not a single one has shown a human being. Perhaps all these levels are abandoned. I can feel Line's presence watching over me like a hawk. I can never see them, but I know they're there, somehow. All I ever do is sit and shiver and stare at a screen. Typing something like this is the only way I can even remember that I'm real. I have no idea what there is to watch, and yet, Line watches. Not even caring about the condition I'm in. I've tried calling out to them, but there's no answer. Sometimes I scream just to hear a voice. What scares me is the fact that I'm not even sure I could recognize a human anymore. If one popped up on the surveillance screen, I'd probably think they were an entity. It's been so long since I've seen myself, and I can't even look at my body because it's so dark all the time. I don't even remember what a human looks like. To top it all off, I haven't eaten or drank anything in what seems like years. It seems like I can't die of starvation or thirst, cause if I could, I would have already. But the hunger and the thirst remain. It's endless agony, this limbo where I can't tell whether I'm dead or alive. I'm begging, anybody who reads this, please send a rescue team or catch the person who's behind all this. It's getting so hard to even think straight, and I'm losing my sense of self. Please, save me. Well, that's a wrap for my backstory. Things still haven't gotten better after this long. I'm on my 152th attempt. I guess I should start counting days by each attempt. I'm starting to wonder if any of this is real. I can't remember the last time I saw Line. Did I get the details right? My memory is slowly starting to slip away. It's like there's this endless static in my brain. I can't seem to focus on anything for more than a few seconds. The first log says that I used to live in level 11, but I don't even remember what level 11 is anymore. I hope it was better than this miserable dump, but maybe I was just delusional. Maybe I've actually lived here my entire life, and level 11 and Line were just stories I made up to convince myself that there's something more out there, waiting for me. Maybe this is all there is. Maybe there is no such thing as the MEG and maybe all of this is pointless. I don't even have the energy to be hopeful anymore. There's not even a glimmer left in me. Fuck this, I'm just wasting my energy and getting depressed. Again. I'm ending the attempt here. Maybe after I sleep,